You have the state of Kansas, let's break it down really simple. They have decided to pass legislation that would allow them the control over their own Second Amendment. Kansas will be the only state, or at least the first state, to not enforce those laws, and not only not enforce those laws, if a federal agent happens to basically come into Kansas and enforce any federal law, that federal agent will face felony charges. So Kansas is basically saying, we're gonna make our own guns, and any gun that says made in Kansas on it would not be subjected to any penalty on the federal scale. So Eric Holder, of course, is going crazy because they have to get your guns. They do not want you to be able to defend yourself. That's what all the DHS buying of bullets is for. That's what the NDAA is for. And some quick highlights here of the letter today. Chris Kobach, he is the Secretary of State of Kansas. He wrote a couple of great things in this letter. If you get a chance to go over it, I'll put a link down here in this video. But really took aim at Eric Holder. He writes, Holder also threatens that the United States will take all appropriate action, including litigation if necessary, to prevent the state of Kansas from interfering with the activities of federal officials enforcing federal laws. With respect to any litigation, we will happily meet Mr. Holder in court. With respect to his concern that federal officials must be allowed to enforce federal law, Mr. Holder's statement is a curious one. He goes on to say, his agency oversaw the Operation Fast and Furious that walked guns into the hands of Mexican cartels. In closing here, Chris Kobach ends it with this. In conclusion, the state of Kansas stands firmly on the principles laid out in the United States Constitution. The bill SB 102 is fully supported by the Second Amendment, the 10th Amendment, and the limited scope of the Interstate Commerce Clause. The Obama administration has repeatedly violated the United States Constitution for the past 4.5 years, and that abuse cannot continue. The state of Kansas is determined to restore the Constitution and to protect the right of its citizens to keep and bear arms. I'm sure any pro-Second Amendment Constitution states, you're about to see firmly stay in place. You already have Michigan last week coming out, being the first state to basically say F you to the NDAA, that we will not enforce the NDAA here in Michigan. And so you're starting to see it unravel, folks. You have to remember, you cannot have martial law, and you cannot have a complete controlled police state with your citizens being armed. So just remember, every time that you turn on the news and you hear these stories backed up by seeing images of the kids from Sandy Hook, because they love to stand on those graves, and every time they try to tell you and make you feel bad for not supporting them trying to eliminate your right to bear arms, remember that they're buying billions of rounds of hollow tip ammunition to be used domestically. They're taking your guns while stockpiling theirs. That's all you need to know. And not just conspiracy theorists and people on the internet and loudmouth talk show hosts. It's now full-on states that are recognizing that the unconstitutional tirade that this administration has been on for quite some time is coming to a head here. So keep your eyes open, and as this story develops, we will definitely keep you updated on it.
I've also asked the school board to make a part of every day some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.